little bit early, a few minutes early. I was looking at the clock and I thought, it's not going to hurt to go a few minutes live. And I'm going to cruise about YouTube just for a minute or two. We're going to see what's going on. I had our friend La Akira, if I'm pronouncing that right. Usually La Akira, sorry, La Akira. I had her up on her live stream. I got a chance to come in and say hi and check how she's feeling. She took 2 tumbles, 2 falls the last couple of days. Man, 1 fall can really shake up the system, let alone 2. Let's see. Emma is up in a live stream. So I'm just going to pop in and give just a little bit of support. Just a little hello, my friend. And then we'll get down to talking about some stuff. Laradox is here. Laradox, how are you? Let's see. And I have our friend Ivy up and running. She's getting close to getting those watch hours. So gotta support, gotta keep supporting. Don't want to let it slip and have her miss her opportunity. Getting those watch hours is it's definitely not easy. It's easier to get subscribers than it is to get your watch hours. So, hey, I don't have a plan. I don't know what's the best way, but I think what I would have done differently is went for my watch hours first by doing live streams and not worrying about so much getting subscribers. I think that's relatively easy now. If you once you figure it out, if you go to the right sites, if you go and you just you support and you support and you support. Our friend Just One Sue is has a new video up. The Harrisburg, I love Harrisburg, by the way. It's the capital of Pennsylvania. Every city in Pennsylvania, every town in Pennsylvania is absolutely beautiful. It just has this old feel to it. It only feels that way in Pennsylvania. At least for me. Maybe I'm biased, as I was born in Pennsylvania. So again, we're just cruising through. We'll see if anyone shows up to have a chat with us today. Being Saturdays and Sundays, weekends are always hit or miss. You could have just one person show up. You could have 15 people show up. I was thinking that the other day. I don't actually know the most people I've ever had in a chat, but it might be about 15. Maybe more. As I was telling Night Watcher yesterday and others, that it doesn't matter to me how many people show up. The conversation goes on regardless, because again, I like to approach it as an art form. And if you're practicing, all art is a practice. Sometimes the practice is so good it's called a masterpiece, but it's still practice. And it's still all, even if you think you have a plan, it's all spontaneous in its own way. And as far as that's concerned, it doesn't matter who's here. It's nice having that sort of call and response in a chat. Somebody, put something out there, and I get a whole thing that I get to offer a discourse on. Um, and sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes, lately, as been pointed out to me, there's been a bit of chaos in the chat. And some people have mentioned that they don't come here anymore because of that. Let's see, Flowers here. She said starting early. Yep, I am starting a little bit early. Just a few minutes. I was here. I was looking at the clock and I thought, you know what? Consider it a warm up. I'm warming up my vocal cords so that I can talk for an hour and a half. Flower says, Paradox's mod is removed again. Yeah. Did not feel like it was heading in a positive direction, I'm sorry to say. As I mentioned, and I was mentioning actually just now, that, some people have mentioned to me in another live stream, someone else's live stream, that they don't come here anymore because they find it to be a chaotic presence. They used to come here, they used to like it, and then it became more chaotic. And they have a point. People, as my friend Masha, Mayhem and Miracles pointed out, the people that come here to actually have a conversation and talk have to feel safe. And if they feel that the conversation isn't supporting them, they have, every right not to be here. I agree. At the same time, I try to have that open door policy that even trolls are welcome. Doesn't mean I have to respond to them, though. That's the mistake I think I've been making. But what I like doing is trying to have enough positivity here that offering everyone in the Buddhist tradition, it's called metta, M-E-T-T-A, which means loving kindness, and that everyone who comes in is offered loving kindness. Flower says, what happened yesterday? It wasn't that bad, but, and I was going to mention this to Nightwatcher, who is here again in his original name, or one of his original names. This is my favorite one, just a Nightwatcher doing burpees in his basement. For me, the integrity of my channel means a lot, and I don't want anyone to ever think that that I devalue anyone else's channel or anyone else's live stream. So I never worry about if people are here or not here, because if they're not here, that means they're somewhere else doing what they need to be doing, which is important. If they are on someone else's live stream, that's exactly where they need to be, and that's important for me as well. So I never want people to come here from somewhere else, because that might mean they miss a valuable connection that they can make. So yesterday, instead of having anyone diverted in my direction, I thought it was better to shut down the live stream early. And I'm glad I did, because it meant I had some time to spend over on Mayhem and Miracles, and I got some valuable feedback from my own live stream. I don't know what I'm going to do, to be honest. I want to keep that open door policy. I want everyone to be welcome. But at the same time, if it's driving away people that I value, I can't have that either. So we're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Some of it is that people who are just offering chaos will most certainly not have a wrench. That's for sure. People who and they won't be ignored, but they also won't be encouraged in the same way um, as to the people who really, really want to participate in a conversation, wherever the conversation goes. It doesn't have to be about what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be about yoga, although and meditation and all that other great stuff. Although obviously, I'm always going to steer things in that direction. But man, all of us, Flower and Night Watcher, um, you guys have been here for a long time with me, and I appreciate that. So hey, I'm always going to stick by you guys. But um, like our friend Jacob A. slash whoever else might be or might not be, um, we all know where the conversation is going to go from the beginning. That it might go nice, but it's always towards those people, and that doesn't make room for anyone else. The other day, we're offering advice, and then it's the same pattern of, "Are you talking to me? Hey, take that back. Don't say that. Apologize." And that's just tiresome. And no offense to our friend Laradox, who is always welcome here, 100%. I have no interest in being a Christian. None. Zero. I went to Catholic school, and I happily removed myself from that religion. Doesn't mean that I don't respect it, doesn't mean that I don't like it, but I've gained this perspective. I've gained this perspective through a hard life, through making a lot of mistakes. And I've emerged with a sense of peacefulness that is fairly, not 100%, but fairly unshakable. So unless you've earned that position for yourself, why would you try to convert me into something else? Especially if what you bring to a live stream is, again, that sense of chaos and, hey, it's about me. So anyone who comes in here with the "it's all about me" attitude it's not going to be, obviously not going to be banned, but they're just going to be slightly de-emphasized unless they bring something else to the live stream, which is a benefit to everyone. Because that's the big deal here, is Flower says, I think people stopped coming after I did. Probably. Nope, not at all. Everyone loves Flower. Milka mentioned that when we were walking. But if you're not here to help other people, to help yourself, to be of service, to offer some kind of meaning, to laugh, to have fun, to tell a joke, to talk about something that you're interested in, to talk about something that we're all interested in. And that doesn't mean that you can't introduce hey guys, come visit my channel. I wouldn't mind some subscribers. Hey guys, check out my new video. Hey guys, I need some help. All of that's on the table, 100%. But to have it consistently be about any particular person, we just can't do it any longer. It's not good. It's not good for any of us. Flower says, what did Miss Milka mention? She mentioned how bright she thought you were because you figured out who our friend Jacob might actually be. Flower says, come here to talk and have a conversation, which is appreciated. And you always you always enliven the conversation. And you're both you and Nightwatcher are extremely supportive to other people as well. Let me leave a little message here, guys. So that's important to me. Hey, if it wasn't for you two, I'd be sitting here talking to myself, which, as I mentioned, I'm actually perfectly okay having a just talking. And I think I could probably do that for, 2 hours. I think I could have a 2-hour conversation just with me. Not that I want to see, if I can. Not that I'm going to take that as a challenge. So I'm seeing if anyone else is live. Masha's here. I was just talking about you too. I was mentioning that I've gotten some valuable advice. And the key to any valuable advice is make it work for you. Be open to it. Listen to it. Sometimes you might hear some things that are difficult to hear if you're attached to how you think things should be. Fortunately, my entire practice of yoga, 30 plus years of my life dedicated to working my way to that state of being unattached from my own good opinion. So when you hear someone else offer you something of value, it's easy to accept, and you make some changes. The most valuable thing is, Masha, and Goldie has mentioned this as well, people need to feel safe and valued when they come into a live stream. Really important, because here's the thing. I was trying to make everyone feel safe and valued, but I was also trying to make the people who were bringing a little bit of chaos feel safe and valued as well. And what I need to do is de-emphasize them and emphasize the ones who are here supporting. And to be honest, they just make me feel good that they show up. Like my friend Flower, like my friend Nightwatcher, they show up every day. That's what matters. Masha says, I'm baking right now. Have peanut butter cookies done now, doing oatmeal ones. Can't stay long. I appreciate you being here. And man, I love peanut butter cookies and I love oatmeal cookies, as long as my oatmeal cookies don't have raisins in them. I'll be honest with you. I see no reason for a raisin's existence. I like grapes. Why take a perfectly good grape and reduce it to a raisin? Unless you absolutely have to for some reason. So for me, it's a yes to grapes. It's a no to raisins. Masha says yes, and that she shared me out. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what I hope to do, I want to give everyone a chance when they come in. But I also need to be watchful and mindful. Are you here because you want to add something? You want to help people? You want to be of service? Including being in service to yourself. I'm all for being in service to yourself. If you're not your own advocate, certainly other people aren't going to be able to carry that weight for you. Masha says, me too. My favorite oatmeal now I make for my daughter, and I put chocolate chips in the oatmeal ones. Awesome. Oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, or if you put in more chocolate chip oatmeal cookies are the best. Man, it's making me miss my mom. She made awesome cookies when I was a kid. Masha says peanut butter ones are my fave. Man, you can't go wrong putting peanut butter in almost anything, I think. Flower says, I was in the car today and I heard the cars outside a little too loud and asked my mom to close the little gap. And another person in the car said, I have good surveillance, but it's completely normal. I wonder if that's because, for her, I wonder if that's because of where you're from, and that it's, you got to be watchful there. Flower says she has a jug of peanut butter and I don't know what to do with it. Hey, grab a spoon and dive right in. Masha says, so easy to make cookies. I hate store-bought cookies. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had any cookies. My diet is so tight. There's no room for anything extra. And it just sort of developed that way. Masha says, have a wonderful day. You too. Thank you for that. I appreciate you being here. Gave a thumbs up hit and the thumbs up. Thank you. And again, thank you. Oh, and if you're still here, Masha, thanks to you, I am at 3,184 with 5 days uncounted. They only counted up to the 20th. And that leaves me with, 816 to go. And, man, I'm getting there. I love seeing that bar creep closer and closer and closer. This has been a big aspiration for me. And I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do it. Your advice about the live streams, everything shot up. Everything changed. Honestly, everything changed the moment I came to your channel. That's how powerful you are. I'm getting a happy dance from Masha. It means an awful lot. Hey, I try to, whenever even if I can't stay, I try to leave you on. As long as you're live streaming, you're up on the screen. But let me go through your playlist. I definitely am all in returning favors. I have our friend Ivy up right now, as she says she's so close. I also have Dagmar. So I'll put up and I'll go through for you. Masha said she's going to do a live later, maybe around 2. Awesome. I sent my friend Empress of the New Earth, who's just starting out her channel. And she's a wonderful person. You'll absolutely love her. So hopefully she'll pop in today. So 2 or 3. I will be on lookout and I'll have you up and running. Flower says on the car window was closed. Oh, the car window was closed, but not fully for a small gap. And I heard the vehicles outside a little too loud, but I guess no one else noticed. That's a good, that watchfulness, mindfulness. It's a good policy. It's a good trait to develop. Flower says, I'm more grateful. I have like you, Mocha, Mayhem, Goldie, and the others. Same as I feel about you. You've been an awesome friend. Masha says, or wait and see who live first. No worries. I'll be watching though. And I'll definitely have you up. And I really hope my friend Elise, Empress of the New Earth, comes in. She is ready to grow and expand her channel. And she wants to do it by helping other people. She is Mayhem and Miracles material. She's not about herself. She is about what can I do for others. And at the same time, she knows that by helping other people, she's going to grow. That's the missing ingredient in success. What can I do for others? How can I serve? I try to keep that policy, even when, people who with a less than great intent might show up here. I still try to have that policy towards them. But as I mentioned now, they're going to be de-emphasized so that I can put the emphasis on the conversation itself. Mayhem says, thank you, you're welcome. And Flower says, I find it funny how I'm possible your youngest viewer. You are, I think, definitely my youngest viewer. And also, one of the longest, long-term viewers. And you are totally accidental. So it actually, I love the fact that you've made friends with Night Watcher and others as well. And that I see you over at Nobles. I've seen you over at, I think I've seen you over at Mayhem and Miracles, right? Flower says, mine's not moving too much, but I'm happy with the amount of subs I have. It actually doesn't move. YouTube Shorts don't count towards watch hours. So I always tell people to put 1 or 2 longer videos there so that, and have a playlist so that people can watch your playlist. It was friends coming by and watching my playlist that has made all the difference. Flower says she has been at Miss Mayhem's. Yep, I thought I saw you there. It's really cool. The people that show up here on a regular basis, seeing them, seeing that crossover, seeing people come visit Eric LaPointe's channel. I'd love to see our friend Night Watcher do some more stuff, feature his artwork. I definitely would love to see more of your artwork as well, Flower. Speaking of Eric LaPointe and speaking of Empress, let's check out their channel real quick. All right, since we're going in alphabetical order, we're going to check out Empress. Boy, why was that hard to say? Of the New Earth. See if there's anything new. Hey, she's getting some nice views. Flower says the trip was so fun. It was a cool, rainy weather. Heavy rain too. Where do you guys go? Is that end of the school year type of thing? So let's see. Nothing yet new from our friend Elise. Nope, I was mistaken. I think we do have something new. So give me 1 second. So I try to make my rounds for people's sites. I don't want to miss anything. We're on to check out Eric LaPointe now. I did see he had something up new earlier today that I applied to. Some great scenery. There he is. Flower says, oh, I'm in summer school, and yes, I guess because it ends in Tuesday. What are you going to do in summer school? Hey, you ever decide what you're going to do about going to Korea with your father? Flower says she can't go live yet. Something wrong with YouTube. I heard it's different between if you're using a desktop or if you're using mobile, that you need 500 for mobile and 50 for desktop. I don't know if that's correct. I hear all kinds of different stuff. So, what happened tonight, Watcher? Let's see. Let's see who else might be up and running. Flower says we went to so it's not pronounced pain. So now I'm completely lost. Also, probably spelled it wrong. So you went someplace. You went someplace that I can't pronounce and that you can't spell. And Flower says, I don't know. He just went poof. Yeah, he was here for a little bit. Our friend Tokyo's here. Tokyo says, Yogi, my friend, how are you? I'm good. How are you, Tokyo? You going to be going live soon? Tokyo says it's good. And then he will be. I'll be checking you out. I will make sure, as always, I'm going to like and I'm going to share. And what I try to do is keep you up and running for some watch hours as well. All the channels that I keep up and running, it's not just for watch hours. It's because I like the channel. I like to be able to pop in and see what's going on. And here's a fun thing with gaming channels. You can pop in anywhere and there's action going on and you're right in the thick of it. You're not controlling it, but you get to see what's going on. It's almost like stepping into a movie at any time. So again, you and Smitty, it was a big thing, you guys opening that doorway for me, that I get to experience that. So you guys have my full support, 100%. Tokyo says, thanks for all your support, my friend. You're welcome. You guys definitely earn it. As I been mentioning the past few days, that it's those channels that seem to really be doing something special. They're the ones that I want to support. If you make one person happier just by doing what you do, you're doing the world a service. One person. Because one happy person is going to go on to make someone else happy. It's going to have that ripple effect. It's just going to carry on and carry on and carry on. And the world becomes a better place each and every time. There's no small things. We think holding the door open to someone, well, it's just a little thing that I can do for someone. We think watching someone's playlist, it's a little thing. But hey, as I mentioned, right now I might be less than a month of hitting those 4,000 watch hours. So any little favor, it's big, it's huge. But for someone else, they might think, hey, all I'm doing is putting you up in an extra window and playing it through. It's those little tiny things that we can do for each other that have a huge impact. Toki says, we appreciate you so much. Hey, you guys have been fully supportive. So, yep, I'm checking through some friends. I'm seeing who was up, what they're doing, what they're up to. I see that our friend Brian Lane, Brian is putting in some really good content. He always has from the beginning, but he's getting more and more assured in what his channel is all about. He's realizing what a powerful message that he has, and he's sharing it with people. For those who don't know, Brian has fought his way through actual hell. There's nothing worse in life than addiction. Having been through it myself, having people close to me go through it, having lost people because of it, it truly is a living hell. And to come through that fire with a positive message, and all you want to do is help people, and that's a pretty important place to come from. And that's where our friend Brian is. Laradox says hello. Turkey says, you got some great logic and knowledge in life, and just overall everything. I like hearing what you have to say. I appreciate all you do, bud. Thank you. Man, that means a lot to hear. It lets me know that I'm on target, that I'm doing what I've set out to do. My intent has been clear. And I think that's why you and Smitty are gaining momentum. You have that clear intent of where you're going, and you're just working steadily for it. Unwavering. Man, to watch your channels grow just in the past few months has been completely awesome. And as for knowledge, a lifetime of practice. It's the biggest thing. If I could offer one thing to people, it would be it's all a practice. I think of that with my live streams. Live streams part of the practice. If someone comes in here with less than great intent, do I automatically shut the door, or do I open that as an opportunity to practice? You don't get good at loving kindness, which in Buddhist tradition is called metta, M-E-T-T-A. You don't get good at that by shutting out the people that offer you a test. If you want to be open, if you want to learn the art of acceptance, being unattached to the opinion of other people, that means you got to take all the crap that they bring you and practice. If I find myself reacting to something instead of being responsive, whose fault is it? The person who came here, or my own fault? It's always my own fault. Laradox says, have you heard of that YouTube chief called Nick? Chief called Nick? I haven't. Is that what he's called? YouTube chief. I have not heard of that. Is it just some guy named Nick? So I'm checking out my old friend real quick, Paul from Oregon. I have a active YouTube channel largely because of my friend Paul from Oregon. I was supporting his burpees, leaving comments, watching his videos, and he said, hey Eric, why don't you put one of your own burpees workouts up? Little did he know that 800 and some days later of doing burpees every single day. I'll let you know how many days. It has been 880 days without missing a single day's worth of burpees. Flower says, okay, I posted the vid. Our friend Emma, A-M-I-H. I don't know how to pronounce it. And if I did know how to pronounce it, I would probably mispronounce it. She is still up and live. I was in there. Let's see. So I just want to leave some message here. And now let's make our way over to Hello Flowers page. Just give me a second as we work through here. Hey, Amy's here. Amy, how are you? I was just visiting Amy earlier on her art festival in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I had mentioned, when I mentioned that earlier, I absolutely love every town, every city in Pennsylvania. It has a feel, they have a feel to them that only Pennsylvania cities have. They have a feel to them that, sorry, I'm bringing up my desktop. When I have my desktop, it's easier for me to check in on other people's channels. And right now we're going to check in on the flower. So, yep, I love Harrisburg. I love the fact that it has the Susquehanna River going right up the middle. And I love the Susquehanna River, one of my all-time favorite rivers. I'll be honest, there's not a river that I don't like. Haven't been born right on the Allegheny River. I was born in McKeesport. McKeesport has fallen on some hard times, unfortunately. It's a beautiful place. My grandmother had a place. It was out in the country. It was in Westmoreland County, the Nora. Huge garden, not quite a farm, but it was a really big garden. She wasn't far from the Youghiogheny River. Let's see. Selina is here. Selina says hello. Hello, my friend. How are you? What do you got for me today, Selina? Selina always has some interesting fact, something to make me smile, something that causes me to miss a step, to pause for a second, considering what she puts out there. Mocha is here. We get a big hello to Mocha. And just on that watcher doing burpees in his bedroom is back. Awesome. Selena says, thinking of rivers. All right, what's your favorite river? And then my father's family is from Sullivan County, Pennsylvania, which is in the middle of nowhere. One stoplight in the whole county. He jokes that when the family moved from there, that's where my entire family on his side, dating back to the late 1600s, is from that area. Huge family. One of the reasons why he wanted to move away is so that his kids could date people who weren't related to him. And he jokes that when uh, he moved away, the county seat changed the sign as he was pulling away from population 192 to population 191. Um, it is a small area, but it's right on the banks of the Loyalsac Creek, which is really a river. Lots of creeks in Pennsylvania are actually rivers, and it flows into the Susquehanna. So the Susquehanna River, rivers in general, are in my blood. So I bet you Mocha's favorite river is the Miami. Just a guess. I could be wrong. Selina says she's next to the Missouri where Lewis and Clark passed by. I have not been to the Missouri River. Man, I grew up reading about it, as I love reading about Lewis and Clark. I loved reading about the mountain men, um, the Native Americans of that region. It's an important river to American history, of the American West history, that's for sure. Quite a few Native American battles were fought along the shore of the Missouri River. And then, of course, I'm only a couple miles from I can actually walk right now to the Little Patuxent River, which feeds into the Middle Patuxent River, which feeds into the Patuxent River. Figure that logic out. Amy says, I don't have a favorite. I love all flowing waters. Yeah, you know, I say I have a favorite, and then we start talking rivers, and I say, no, this one's my favorite. I've spent my life right near the Patapsco River, which feeds into the Baltimore Harbor, which gives us the Inner Harbor. Selena says, I've been to the Arabia Museum, where an entire riverboat's intact cargo was evacuated. Wow. Flower says she's trying to figure the logic out. Let me know if you're able to do that. Logic is something that largely escapes me. Would not consider myself really a logical person. More of having an intuitive sense. I think to be truly successful, which I'm not claiming to be, to have that marriage of logic and intuitiveness. With, in my own opinion, I'm going to say 70% intuitiveness and 30% logic, because I don't think logic applies to everything. And sometimes the most logical choice isn't the one that's most heartfelt. It's not the one, you don't fall for the person that's the most logical. You don't marry the person that might be the most logical choice. Your heart tells you something completely different. But also, logic, intuitiveness, I think, can also be one and the same, and we just give it different names for different aspects of it. When something is truly, truly logical, we have an intuitive sense that it is so. And when something is intuitive, logic doesn't really fit into the picture so much. It's still there. Excavated. Sorry. Excavated. If I say that one more time, it's going to come out a completely different word. And displayed. Amy says, yes, my logic is integrated with my intuition. That's awesome. Um, I think that's something that we can develop. I think some people are naturally born that way. And I think sometimes the most intuitive people, as they're guided through their lives, um, get that realization that there's an inherent logic to things. That being intuitive doesn't mean it's separate from logic, and that being logical doesn't mean that it's separated from um, our intuitive sense. And I think the key to that, in yoga, they say you tap in, you live your life from the heart center. The heart center isn't a chakra, that's something other. Um, the heart center is our identity. When we get rid of all of beliefs, all of our concepts, all of the things that we think, including thoughts themselves, including our thoughts of thoughts, when we let them pass by, what remains is the loving presence of the heart center itself. And the entirety of the path of yoga is to live from that heart center, to get back in touch with it, and then to allow your entire life to be expressed from there. And I think when that happens, and for some very fortunate people, it's never completely closed. For some very unfortunate people, at a young age, for whatever reason, family life, um, tragic events, it closes early. But it's never, ever, um, it never abandons us. We just need to reawaken it. And that's the path of yoga. Yoga doesn't mean poses, postures. Yoga itself simply means union. It's the reawakening of the heart center. And that could be through the path of Christianity. It could be through the path of Buddhism, Sufism, traditional Islam. Doesn't matter. Night Watcher says, logic and common sense is something I don't have. Oh, I think you do. I think you undersell yourself sometimes, Night Watcher. You're definitely a passionate person. And that's a good thing, especially for an artist. Amy says the separation is there when we are too attached to ego and disregard intuition. Perfectly said. Too attached to ego. Which again brings us the path of yoga, even the path of, in my opinion, of real Christianity. When I say real Christianity, in no way do I mean that as derogative towards how anyone chooses to follow their faith, but Jesus lays out clear examples in the Bible on how to live your life. When he was asked about what are the two most important commandments, and he said, love God. I'll get the rest of it out of order. All your heart, your mind, and your soul. And love others as you love yourself. That was one clear directive that he offered. 2, the kingdom of heaven is within. And yet, now it seems traditionally, we're told to look at a far off heaven. It's out there somewhere. And if you live your life, right now it seems, if you live your life by means of social positions and not love, you'll get to heaven. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then the Sermon of the Mount. Wonderful directives on how to live our lives. The entire practice of Christianity is right there in the New Testament. And yet we rely on other people, clergy, who do play an important role, but they're not the ones who are living our lives. All we have to do is follow that path that Jesus laid out clearly. And if you're not Christian, Buddha lays out a path. If you're not Buddhist, there's a path of yoga. Solana says, my thought for the day was when I walked by the sea and realized there are aspects so vast I don't need to have them figured out by myself or have others figure it out for me. Man, that's beautiful. That's an important realization. Nothing like a larger body of water to expose us as mystery. We don't have to figure anything out. We don't have to figure anything out in life because life is living us. Life is expressing us. That's what our friend Amy was saying up above. Attached to the ego. When you're attached to the ego, you're living life. You think that you have this directive. When you're unattached to the ego, life is living you. Life is expressing you. We can substitute the word life with the word love. Love is expressing us. Tokyo says he's up and running, so is Smitty. So we got two friends who are up and live, doing live streams. These guys, to me, have the two best gaming channels on YouTube, online. Always appreciate coming in and visiting them. I keep them up and running when they're live. So I'm going to I got Smitty up right now. I'm going to say a hello to him. Hey, our friend Four Paws Fitness is here. Hello, Eric. Stop by to say hello. Good morning. I appreciate that. Man, I wish I could drop links. Four Paws Fitness has an awesome fitness channel, guys. Easy to find if you go to the search engine for Four Paws Fitness. So, Solana, I really appreciate you sharing that. Beautiful. Nightwatcher says, want to debate anyone? Nope, not even a little bit. I never have any debate. I never have any interest in having a debate with anyone. Who am I to attempt to prove someone else is wrong? And I have no attachment to my own opinion of being right. Decades and decades and decades ago, I've read some advice that given a choice, and that I always have a choice, it's more important to be kind than it is to be right. And that made sense to me both logically and intuitively. Because, you know what, I can walk away from any conversation and still be convinced that I'm right. But if I attempt to make someone else wrong, I never walk away from a conversation feeling good about myself. I expanded energy on something that could have been spent doing 1,000, 10,000 different things. So I have people come in here very often to tell me that I'm completely wrong. And my reply is always, probably so. But then again, who isn't? In the vast mystery of the universe, every single one of us is wrong just by stating something. This is why the Tao Te Ching begins with the Tao that can be told is not the true Tao. Or in the Course of Miracles, they say words are but symbols twice removed. They're not the actuality. So to debate the actuality with words really doesn't make much sense. At best and at worst, it simply drains everyone involved of energy. Who wants to come into a live stream and hear me debate someone? Maybe someone. So let me leave a quick reply here to my friend Smitty. Here's an important thing to consider for those who are growing their YouTube channel. Everyone's a potential friend. And it's those friends that make a huge difference. Not just for you, although they do. but for others as well. For them. Our friend Reaper is here. Reaper says, hello, how are you? Good, Reaper, how are you? How's your thumb? So I'm sharing Smitty out. If I can type right. When I first started visiting Smitty, I think he was like 300 and some subscribers. He is now over 2,000. Absolutely amazing to see a channel grow like that. So that's taken care of. Sorry guys, I'm doing some work while we have a conversation. Oddly enough, I'm not a big fan of oh, I thought you said that you had hurt your thumb. Let's see. So yeah, I was saying that, you know, I'm not a not a firm believer in multitasking. And yet here I am doing two things at once. And you can see why I'm not a firm believer in multitasking, because I'm doing neither one of them very well. I was checking to see if our friend Noble was up. So one of the things I've been thinking of as far as live stream is I definitely don't want to be the one just talking and talking and talking and talking. What I'd like doing, the reason why I fall behind on a lot of the conversation, I'd like giving as much of a discourse as possible on whatever's presented. Although I'm also learning to like skip a lot of the lows and the highs, that I don't need to read every single comment, but I do try to keep up with the important ones and then feed off of that, see where it leads me, and then see where it leads you. And all of it's good, from talking about rivers and towns in Pennsylvania to logic and intuition. Flower says, some people laugh when they're hurt, cry when they're mad, and smile when they're down. Sorry, this was random. It's a good point, though. Brian Lane says, hey, Eric. Hey, Chet. Superman. How are you, Brian? I was talking about you earlier. I was sharing a bit of your story and telling people how important your channel is growing, what it's becoming, and how awesome it is seeing you step up to that position of being a teacher, a wisdom teacher. I would say our friend Brian Lane is a true yogi. And he might think, well, I don't really practice yoga, but he does. He practices the yoga of recovery. It's an important yoga. For him, the most important one. Mocha says it's true to Flower. Yes, it is. Flower says Yogi's head looks like an egg. The egg is the most handsome of all head shapes. I couldn't think of anything else to follow that with. Mocha says, I'm sure he'll love that comment. Brian says before he goes to work. So basically you're saying my head looks like something that just came out of a chicken's butt. I know in actuality, eggs don't come out of a chicken's butt. Either way. So I like that, Brian. A yogi of recovery. You practice the yoga of recovery. And remember, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, yoga is a Sanskrit word that means union. And by right, it doesn't even mean union. That's only that loose translation that we're able to offer it, because everything is already joined. Things can't be unionized if it's already one thing. Things can't be joined in union if it's already one expression. However, as mentioned before when we were talking about intuition and logic, things can seemingly be split in different directions. And yoga is simply the realization going back to that oneness itself. And nothing fractures us more than addiction. Brian can attest to that. We feel like we're in 1,000 different pieces. I can attest to that, having had my own struggles with addiction. But sometimes, if you can come to that realization, if you can use that, being shattered is not a bad place to be. Because now when you put yourself together, you can be free of all those little places, all those little things, all those jagged edges, all that brokenness, and you can just be open and spacious. Brian says, don't know if the first message went out. I wrote, thanks, I'm doing great. Just got workout in and celebrated the victory eating berries off a tree. Nope, I missed that. That's awesome. Man, I used to do that when I was a kid. I was just talking about that with Mocha. We went by a mulberry bush yesterday. And it was the same mulberry bush that I would pick berries from when I was a kid. Brian says, how you doing today, Eric? I'm doing okay. Started out not feeling great. Not sick, but just very lethargic, which isn't a normal feeling for me. But definitely after the workout, after my burpees, I felt better. Flower says she dreamt about you guys again. Help? I don't know. I think that is beyond the help that we can offer. You know, might need a Yogi channel detox. Brian says, I dreamed I was doing burpees sometimes. When I was doing a lot of trail running, a lot of racing, I would dream that I was running on a trail and that I would fall. And then I'd wake up with a start, especially after a really long race. Brian says, hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you. Hope you are as well. So, I need to get over to our friend Tokyo. I had, there he is. I got Smitty up and running. And now we got Tokyo up and running. Tokyo Goal King was 420, now he's 69s. Yeah, I know. Let's see. So I just want to share him out. Want to say hi, like, comment. Speaking of like, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I'd highly appreciate it. Just a second. So anyway, I was saying about why I don't like to multitask, even though I'm multitasking, is because the conversation suffers and I end up making typos. And yet I do it anyway. Mocha is going to work out soon. Mocha is going to be doing kettlebell snatches. Both Mocha and I are actually kettlebell certified instructors with the American Kettlebell Club and World Kettlebell Club. It focuses on the competition lifts. Flower says, and Jacob said, I'm CK in game chat, which basically is Chris K. So I don't know why that was included in my dream. Huh. Well, I think because your intuition is telling you something that you already knew, that we were misled. I don't think we were all misled, really, because I think we all knew. Brian says, have a great time working out. Milka? Milka was doing burpees for a bit, but trouble with her wrist. Let's see. Flower says, I meant have a great workout, Miss Milka. I didn't see what your other thing was. So, back to our friend Brian Lane. Brian's been putting out some great insights. Some great content, but that content contains some great insights. Even if you haven't had your own struggle with addiction, although, you know what, we all do, whether we realize it or not. We're all addicted to an opinion. We're all addicted to a self-image. We're all addicted to what the ego tells us rather than what spirit tells us. We're all addicted to how we view ourselves, not necessarily always in a good way, and that does a lot of damage when we're addicted to the belief that we are less than we actually are. When we live our lives believing that we are less than our true selves. I was going to offer, was it Pierre? I cannot remember his name. So we'll look him up. He's he was Jesuit priest and archaeologist. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, I believe. I'm probably wrong. He was the original one who said, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. It's a great little paradigm shift. Mocha says she'll be listening in every now and then. So yeah, we're all faced with our own addictions. In some ways, we're a little blessed when we realize that we have an addiction, because then we can work to change it. In yoga psychology, they talk about the 4 kleshas, which are the things that obscure our true vision of who we are. And we have our attachment to, or we have our attachments, we have our aversions, we have our fear of death, and our delusion of being an egoic sense, an egoic being. And worst of all, we have the ignorance of all of that. We don't even know that we are trapped in those kleshas. And that yoga is a process of wakening up and realizing that, bringing a sense of awareness. Everything changes as soon as you bring a sense of awareness to anything. If you bring a sense of awareness to an addiction, the addiction itself automatically begins to change. But it's got to be true awareness, and it has to be, we have to realize that awareness and love are inseparable expressions of one thing. Because it's only through love that things begin to change. You can never hate yourself to sobriety. You can never hate yourself to, not true sobriety. You can never hate yourself to success, not true success. Doesn't mean that you can't hate yourself and make some money. People have certainly proven that. But I think anyone who might come here to listen for any length of time probably already realizes that success and money aren't necessarily taking us in the same direction. Not knocking money. You know, all of us, some of us have bills to pay. But I certainly don't want my life to be just about chasing money. One of my objectives with YouTube is to have just enough to pay my bills so that I continue this really simple, happy, yogic lifestyle that I've been blessed with and that I've worked for. So that's a long conversation to saying, hey, Brian's got a really valuable channel with great important insights. And again, not just on addiction, but life itself. So, did we lose our friend Night Watcher again? We've been having people coming, people going. That's how it works. Yep, so Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, French Jesuit archaeologist. That is quite a contradiction. Paleontologist, theologian, philosopher, and teacher. He was Darwinian and progressive in outlook. The contradiction is obviously, specifically in the Catholic faith, they don't really believe in evolution. And that is such a beautiful saying, that we are not human beings who have an occasional spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings who are having a human experience right now. Our friend Goldie is here. Goldie, how are you? We've been covering all kinds of stuff today. Rivers. Always come back to rivers. I can always come back to any conversation about rivers. And YouTube, and now we'll see where things go from here. Goldie says that she's good and she's at work. I hope work's going well for you. I know that you said the new person had to take over a different shift. Um, has that changed any for you? Goldie says in the last hour for today. Awesome. I'll do my best to make some of that hour go by quickly, if I'm able. So our friend Masha was here earlier in the conversation. She is baking cookies. And then she was thinking of going live, either 2 or 3, depending on how the baking was going. Gordy says, yes, during the week, I'm usually holding down my shift by myself, but I have help on the weekends. Is the weekend, I would guess it's a busier time, but maybe not. So I'm going to scroll through YouTube real quick just to see if Miracle and Mayhems is getting ready to go live, but I don't see anything yet. I don't see an announcement. I've been mentioning to our friend Empress of the New Earth that this is the place to go. It's a place to gain friends and offer support. Gordy says, yes, it's usually a busier time. Well, I'm glad you have some help then. And I was also mentioning how appreciative I was of the insights offered by Masha and Goldie. Especially as you guys are out there supporting so many different people. I see Goldie on lots and lots of channels. Always just being a great friend, open presence. So you guys see a lot of things. Goldie says I was saying the same thing. Goldie says we're not trying to be mean to you. Oh, absolutely not. I appreciate it. It was a good wake-up call for me to re-examine how I'm approaching things and to look for a middle way, to be true to. And when we were taking a walk, I mentioned this to Mocha, that I want to find that middle way of being open, supportive to all who come in, no matter who, but at the same time making sure that it doesn't interfere with the quality and the flow of the conversation that we're having. That I have some truly, truly great people who show up, who offer some great insights, and we get to have a really great conversation. And Goldie being one of those that I value. Dr. Destiny being one for sure. Eric LaPointe, Squirrel Sniper, Horror of Spice, Flower, Night Watcher, all of you guys. And I never know, if someone comes in, I never know what they're going to offer. But it pays to be mindful. It pays to be watchful. Flower was talking about that. How she was watchful out in the street. And you have to sort of have that same approach. So be open, but also protective of the conversation, protective of why people are coming here. And as both Goldie and Masha said, making sure, and Mocha reiterated, making sure that people feel safe. I I dropped the ball on that because I was doing my best to make sure everyone felt heard, which is important to me. So now I need to add on, everyone should be heard and everyone should feel safe. Um, I never, one of the things we were talking about with Amy above, attachment, attachment and ego. I never want to be so attached that mine, this is the right way. My way is the right way, no matter what. Um, because then that fails on so many levels. For one, it fails each and every one of you guys that comes in here. For two, it fails me as a practice because it means I wasn't being mindful, that I let something important slide. I let something important slip. So it was a good wake-up call. So, speaking of which, I see that our friend Mayhem and Miracles actually shared out my live stream. So I want to put up a little thank you. Here's another thing, a tip if you will. A thank you goes a long, long ways. Very simple thing. Every so often I talk about Hawaiian shamanism. And there's a method in Hawaiian shamanism called Ho'oponopono. Do not ask me to spell that. It has a lot of P's, it has a lot of O's. But it's basically the repetition of 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you're not offering that to a person. You're offering that to yourself, because by being an observer of any situation, it means that you're part of. And so that you're offering a healing of the thing that you are observing by saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Goldie says, Eric, did I mention that I'm planning on going on a missionary trip? No, you didn't. That's awesome. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go, and for how long, if you don't mind sharing? If you're able to share. I know in some traditions, missionary trips are a fundamental part of the practice. I know in Mormonism, I think every person at a certain age is required to do a missionary trip. Goldie says it's a week, and the video I asked you guys to share is a huge hint. I'm going to revisit that. I also want to reshare that. And if it's what I'm thinking, maybe I need to offer a be careful. Let's see, guys. 1 second. There we go. So when the live stream is over, I'm going to revisit that video and give that another watch. And as I mentioned, also reshare it. So, Our friend Night Watcher has been in and out. You still around, Night Watcher? I know Mocha is working out. Listening, but working hard. Brian Lane said he had to be heading to work soon, so he might already be on his way out. Goldie says, yes, Eric, but it's required. It is forced in some situations. Nobody is requiring me to do anything of that kind. Which, for me, is the best kind of practice, and best kind of missionary trip. Anything that comes from, directly from the heart. This is what my heart is telling me to do. This is what my faith is telling me to do. This is what I always make that difference between faith and religion, although it doesn't necessarily mean that they're mutually exclusive. But I think everything starts with faith and then religion follows that. But that might be different for other people. I just don't know how I would feel about putting religion before faith. If your heart is truly telling you one thing, that this is what my life is about, but your religion is telling you otherwise, it's not an easy position to be in. I don't envy anyone being there. For me, it was my own parting, as I've mentioned before, with growing up in a specific tradition and where I've ended up now. But fortunately, being where I am now allows me to embrace all the wonderful stuff that came before. I don't have to push away or deny anything that was part of me at any time in my life. Goldie says, for almost 2 years, my tips go to a missionary that has been there the entire time. Wow. Some months 25, and some months 100. That is quite some support. That's awesome. And I know from our conversations that it's directly from your heart, which makes it all the more of a beautiful act. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving back into that video. I shared it out because it was late. I didn't have much time to really view through it. I just wanted to make sure to get it out there because you had asked. But I'm glad you came in today because that reminds me that now I get to really dive in. Gordy says, yes, it is, and just read his newsletter today. He needs a lot of prayers. I will definitely send prayers. We'll definitely send prayers and energy. No easy thing. So give me 1 second, guys. I want to make sure that I bring up that video going so that I won't. So it'll be here and I'll see it and I won't forget. So I'm bringing up my community page. So this is the holiday weekend here. I appreciate anyone who takes time out of their busy day, their busy weekend, and their celebrations to even just pop in and say hi. So a big thank you for all those who have. Weekends in general, it's just, it's family time, shopping time. So being spring, summer, cookout time, given just a thought in this direction, I don't take that for granted at all. It is very much appreciated. As I started out the conversation talking, that honestly, I do my very best to have this type of conversation with absolutely zero people in the chat or with however many people might show up. That for me, it's all a practice. And that includes whoever it is that shows up, which is another thing I try to keep in mind, that just because something is my practice doesn't necessarily mean it has to be everyone who's here to a practice. So I want to be mindful of what interferes with our conversation. But it's always easy to be kind and open and loving to those who come in with good intent. Those guys are easy. Each and every one of you here, it's been easy to be open and loving to your presence because you've come in here with that energy. Of course, not everyone has, and not everyone will. So, as I mentioned yesterday, I want to be open and sincere in greeting everyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they get to stay, or that they get to, or they even want to stay. Because what you find is, for a lot of people, if they're not getting the attention and the energy that for whatever reason they feel they deserve, they have a tendency to go away on their own. But sometimes not before they cause a lot of disruption. Hard lessons on the YouTube street. But guys, I'm getting there, little by little by little. So here we go. I have Goldie's video that she asked to be shared up, and it'll be watched in just a few minutes. In just a few minutes, we're going to say goodbye for the afternoon session, and I'll be back this evening, evening for me, 5 o'clock or so. I'm checking through. And it was a good conversation. I appreciate you guys showing up. You have me thinking about rivers. My favorite rivers through the year. And as our friend, actually both Amy and Selina had said, they don't really have a favorite river. They have favorites, which is the same. So, Goldie, thank you for that. Thank you very much. You know what's I really, really appreciate that. And right now, I'm sitting in amazement that I've just received $4 in Romanian money. I've never have before, and never would I have ever thought in my life that I would have. I'm actually, I'm going to be honest. I'm a little, I'm a little overwhelmed by that act of kindness. Um, that means a lot. It's just for me, the symbolism of receiving that act of kindness from Romania. This is a YouTube moment for me that uh, I will think of forever. Um, I'm not a super, as Merck would point out. Um, I almost consider myself somewhat of a stoic. Um, you know, my emotions, they don't wear them on my sleeve, although I'm very aware of my emotions. But this one hit me, Goldie, in the best way possible. Thank you. So, I think with that, I can't think of a better or more perfect way to end a beautiful conversation. I appreciate every aspect of this. Um, as I mentioned yesterday, last night was another great conversation. I'm returning to the intent, why I started doing live stream, and keeping that in mind, and then working with that intent. Because when I keep that in mind, I can always return anything that starts steering away from that intent, and I can bring it back, and I can bring it back. And I think everyone here and everyone who's been participating for the last couple months, I think you all know the intent. I don't think I need to reiterate it. Um, this is a place to share whatever it is you have to share, as long as it's never ever hurtful to someone else. So, again, on this huge, significant act of kindness for me, uh, I'm going to end the conversation and say goodbye. Goldie, thank you very much. I have the video up, and I'm going to be watching it as soon as we're done. And my prayers will be going out, for sure. Thank you, guys. Everyone that's come in. I will see whoever is around later. And if you want, come on by and say hi. I know it's a busy time. Take care, guys.